Uh, oh,
I'm sorry, I forgot to press recording and I
no,
realized
it's all
Jack's not
good.
on. So
It's all good.
That's okay.
it also matches what we have to do for calf.
Yes.
So us being able to show them when they come or when they ask for us information, the actual graphs of where we compared our budget to what we actually did. Um, it's a tick for us in what calf says that we need to do as well. So not only is it awesome for us, but it's also for our credentialist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. Very good. Yeah, and Steph, don't apologize for being visual, man. That's me all day long. It's like,
Okay.
show me a good word picture, and
Yes, I'm
yeah,
much better with that.
yeah, that's fine. And anybody else? Any feedback or comments, input, anything on the suggestion for financials?
No, I came in, sorry, I came in late, but I do what I saw. I really like this. And I am a very visual person too. So graphs, any of that I love. So this looks really good. I think this will be really helpful in understanding those more. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Yes, thanks, Amy. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we won't further delay that. So we'll jump now to, I know he is not on yet, but we'll just go, Danielle, I want to go to you as the CEO and just kind of give us, like, is there anything pressing, anything in any of the programs or anything that you oversee, concerns, or anything like that?
I don't have any concerns. We always have apprehension because we're launching two new sites in two separate counties. That means new staff, um, looking at how they're going to work. I'm actually excited with the stuff that we've got there and what's coming of that, even the brainstorming. So when we've seen referrals haven't come in as much as they thought, how can we address that? But I think that were the main things for me, concerns, but then at the same time, I have a lot of faith in what we're doing is, and you will see differences in the budgets like we had before, because one, they have to get attached to our insurances, and then also we've got to start to build up. We're paying for staff before we really build up to the referrals and the clientele.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when we launch a new site, do we have any type of staffing models or anything that we use to kind of determine, hey, the capacity here is this, we think we're going to need this many clinicians? Is there anything that we have that we
Yeah.
use as guidance?
Oh, I'm in a meeting. Go.
We do have that, and we've been working on, hi Danica, we're working on basically putting that in a model because we're working towards this model becoming evidence-based. And
Mm-hmm.
we look at to do with based on how many clients we have, how many clinicians we need for that. But one of the things we've learned, we have to take into account sick days, vacations. It can't be just that clean, this number to this person.
Sure.
And so we do have a model in how we do that. The biggest thing that we'd had troubles with, but is really getting those higher licensure people to be able to cover when we open those new places. And we've just, one of our twos has become a three in the next week and a half. It's been all
We
submitted.
Sorry, it just made me think of it. We need to pray for her. She was actually crying today about that because she found out because she has had past board action, they can refuse to give her her three. And I
Okay,
prayed
so
with
we
her
need to
and told her
pray.
that we're claiming it and the Lord knows her heart and that what is supposed to happen will happen. Sorry.
Yep. Okay. And then we also brought on an LI to be able to, so we make sure not only having the staff for the clients, we need to have the supervisory to have that in place and make sure we don't have one person who's signing off for everything that becomes a red flag for Medicaid. So we do have models that we look at and we make sure when we're staffing up areas that we've got to go to.
Okay, awesome. Very good. Okay, anything else, Danielle, from kind of like your perspective?
Um, Actually, no, because sort of like in the last month and that's sort of like where I've been living is is in those areas and everything else is sort of running really well. Do you know what I mean?
Good, good,
But a lot of our time focus is the new places that are opening up
good.
and bringing on our new credentialing stuff, credential stuff.
Awesome. Okay, very good. Okay, so I guess I don't know that I'm seeing everybody. Do we have a Jack?
No, Jack's not on here.
Okay.
He did want to, wherever you want to add it, he said to remind for the agenda the septic. the
Yes.
conversation that he had with you. So I'll just leave that with you. That's the only thing that Jack has said to me, make sure.
Okay. I was going to say, anything else in any of his programs that you can think of that we just want to throw out real quick before we get into the septic discussion?
I don't think so, only because we have the reports, which is you get to see the day-to-day of things are running if you read the reports and what they're actually doing and sort of having a finger on what's happening. And would
I
be
don't
more
know
if
that
you guys
Cody,
had questions.
I don't know that Cody sends a report yet or Poe, but so you may want to touch on them.
Okay, so has he got 9 clients in Malta?
I think we have 11 now.
Okay, so we've got 11, and it was just really working on the other staff coming beside him and helping with assessments and things like that. And we've got some good staff that are working with him now there. And they've been coming down, I think once a week they've been coming down to Kingston, like they've all been coming down there and sort of like seeing how things are run. It supports Cody, but also it's really good for the clients. The schools are just starting to pick up now. Caseloads are starting to go up in the Adams County. We're in 7 schools there. We've met their staff that are going to be doing it, and we're going to be starting adult IOP, and they have 7 clients, I think, waiting to start as soon as we say yes. We had to be put on at the facility, had to be put on the insurance before we can do the lease and be able to go in there to do that. But they've got the rooms and everything set up. It's like we're in there, but we're not officially on the lease for Adams County for our IOP program. We did find in one of the things, and what we're looking at relaunching 2 programs that one program, the 360 program, we have staff that are actually fitness instructors that already had that in their past life that we've been working with for us to be able to offer the Impact 360 Health, which is it makes it billable, but we can actually address mental health, fitness, nutrition, and SUD if we need to as well in that program, and we're able to make it billable. That's something we're actually going to promote out into, not just for the clients we have, but to do with teachers, CPS workers. Originally thought of it to do with first responders because none of them want to go and get mental health, but we know that they're the ones that really need to have it. So we've really tidied up and made that program presentable and marketable now to be able to do that. The other thing in Adams County, we noticed that a lot of the difference that they'd seen is a lot of the juniors and seniors in the high school, which is one of the worst high schools there in that county. They don't want to be seen as going to see a counselor in mental health. So we've adjusted and pivoted that it's instead of saying come for mental health counseling, where they'll know that mental health is a piece. They have to have an assessment to do with that, but it's actually career and life coaching. And so we've looked at the overlap to do with coaching and to do with CPST, which is that service, that walking life with you that we do. But it's going to be more curriculum based, but they're all going to have individual treatment plans, and it's always going to have to go back to their treatment plan with what we do. And I've got a couple of really good people at Adams County that are just wanting to run with it. So we've just tied up in a bow that program as well. And we're actually starting off with that to be evidence-based. We're also doing that with the 360, where Kelly is working with us, so that down the track it becomes a passive income for us. That once we've got all the data and the placebos and everything, and we become evidence-based, that we can then package that and other places can purchase it from us.
Very good. That's awesome. Excellent.
There.
Okay, thank you for that, Danielle. So yeah, let's move on to, let's talk about the, I know we have discussed it on calls in the past. Let's talk about the septic need and issue at it's now guys, it's the Pennington
Yeah.
property?
Yeah,
Okay.
the
The
mansion.
The mansion. Okay.
We've got 2 on Pennington. That's why we say the mansion.
Okay. So, and Danielle, remind me what is the name of the property, like the investment property company that you guys have?
It's Restoration Property Investments.
Restoration Property Investments. Okay. So obviously Restoration Property Investments, and I'm saying this out loud to make sure I've got the story all straight, owns the property. and that we've come down to the discussion of, I don't think it's a question at all whether the septic system needs to be fixed, but I think it's more of, um, rightfully, where does the responsibility of the expense fall based on, I guess, considering the lease agreement that's between Reach and Restoration Properties, as well as, I mean, I guess it's pretty clear, Reach is utilizing the property for way more than it was ever intended, so you can see some responsibility on that side of things. Steph, can you remind me on, I do believe that we got quotes back on the actual cost if we were to do either one type of septic or another. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, so we've got the stuff back from the engineer, and the engineer recommends that we do a mound system because what they found is that the entire field where we have room to put a septic system is bedrock. So they can't put it underground. So the mound system would be two long, excuse me, two long mounds, 3 foot tall, the whole length of our field, which is, I don't, I don't know, it's maybe a half-mile long driveway. So they would be along the field, on the side of the driveway in our field. And that system would be between 100 and 120,000 is what they told us. I asked if we had any other options, and he said we could go with a drip system, which is multiple. He didn't tell me how many. He just said it was many more lines, but they're only 18 inches tall because they still have to put in the regular septic system, but they have to mound the ground up 18 inches around it so it has place to drain. So the
Okay.
whole field would still be used, and that system runs 150 to 175,000.
Okay. So obviously the more we would just give up use of that space, right? If we go with the two mound system, because there's not really going to be anything that we can do because of how tall the mounds are going to be, correct? Like if they're 3 feet tall.
Yeah, either way, we lose being able to build in the field, which is what they had originally planned, is to build more housing. But
Okay.
with putting in the septic there, we can't.
Okay. But it's pretty much necessary.
Yeah,
Or
we
we're
don't have
gonna
any other option.
we're gonna have it cleaned twice a month, right? For infinity. No.
Right. Actually, the EPA will not let us have it cleaned twice a month. I'm coordinating between the EPA and the engineer to have it taken care of and remedied. So,
Okay. So we need to come up with a permanent solution.
yeah.
Okay, so Danielle, you might have to help me with some of the, I guess, the terms that have been considered, thought through. So it's my understanding that Restoration Properties is in the process of obtaining a loan to do more than just this upgrade to that particular property. I think the roof and I think an expansion, right? By finishing the garage, which would expand the bed space. Is that correct
Yes.
so far?
Yes.
Finishing the garage gives us between 12 and 15 additional beds, depending on how we do it.
Okay. 12 to 15 extra beds. Okay, so I guess, so what has the arrangement been discussed in terms of a potential agreement between what Reach would cover to remedy? Of course, they're not going to cover the cost of some of those regular things that are going to happen, right? It sounds like you guys knew the roof would need to be replaced at some point, some things, and Jack's totally content and fine with covering the cost on that. But what has been the discussion up to this point about, okay, if Reach could cover this portion of that loan to help absorb the cost of the septic repair, and then Restoration Properties would handle this portion? Can you just help me make sure that I have those numbers correct?
I think when Jack was when he was coming and talking to you, was sort of looking at what was some thoughts that Reach had to do with it. Some of the thoughts that we had to do with it was if Reach could pay more in rent, like monthly, towards that loan that we're getting to pay such that substantial amount.
Mhm.
Mainly because of the reason we have to replace everything is because of the number of people that are in the
Correct.
building.
Right. Right. So right now, and just in case people are unaware, right now the Restoration Properties for rent receives, is it 325, 375, something like that per per bed.
375. Restoration Properties receives 375. Nicole's 28th chapter charges us 400 per person.
Okay. So that's
They do
kind
the
of what the
greenfield
rent is,
test.
and it fluctuates based on occupancy, right? Which is good. So, okay.
And it's based on, we don't prorate it because that would be a nightmare to track for someone. So we pay rent based on who's in the house on the first. So if we get 5 people in between the 1st and the 20th, the rent, we don't pay for them for the first, or the 1st through the 30th, we don't pay for them for the first month.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So if the agreement somehow, and I guess I just want to hear from the board, like, what do we think is, I guess, a fair responsibility to fall on Reach to, I guess, absorb or to pay towards this repair if we just kind of isolated it to the cost of what this new mound system is gonna be? Because I think something Jack and I had talked a little bit about was if Reach paid like, so they paid rent, but then they paid like an additional $1,000 a month that would be earmarked to go towards that loan payment. So that was a number that had been thrown out. Now I don't know what the duration of that would be. Like, I don't know what's reasonable. So did any of the board members just have any thoughts or input or just anything on what we feel would be an appropriate arrangement? And again, just keeping things, you know, I guess at a reasonable amount, but also helping contribute due to the needed repair.
Well, I think that I probably have more questions than answers right now. Is
Okay.
anybody aware of like what is acceptable in these types of situations in general when it comes to like a nonprofit with like a kind of a for-profit arm?
Yeah, so this is probably a good, let me just say this, because this is something that I researched before this call. And the only concern that I have, it's bigger than just this topic. It's kind of just it's the arrangement, which I completely understand why it's been done this way, between having two officers that own restoration properties investments. And basically it becomes very close to what looks like a conflict of interest. And the only reason I bring that up is because in our governance, in the bylaws, it's like Article 4, under purpose and limitations, Section 1, it talks about limitations on private inurement is the term. So I don't know if anything has been brought up like in the past, like way before I've shown up on the board or most other members, where it's not something that, I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong, but I'm just saying I think if we could put a few things in place to bring just like a lot of transparency and disclosure to make sure that we do not want to, risk our 501c3 status whatsoever in any way. So, and just and again, I'm not a tax attorney. This is just research that I've done. And that is a lot of times what nonprofits will do is if there is something that, again, a lot of it's just optics, but they've put a conflict of interest policy in place. And those can be very simple, just describing, and then each involved officer. Now this goes not just for like real estate, but this literally goes for any person that is kind of seen as an insider, which would be like board members, it'd be our officers or any key staff that provide, maybe their spouse provides goods and services to Reach. That's important too, to keep that just disclosed and transparent. So that would maybe be something we'd want to consider if there has not been anything put in place thus far. I just think it looks good. I think it shows that the board's discussed it. We're fully aware. Here's the research that we did, because it talks about in the IRS code about everything has to be like fair and equitable, like the rent that's
Yes.
being charged has to be very comparable. So we could look at comps for rent, for comparable type of situations.
And
And then
that's
just,
what we've done up until now, but I like having a
okay,
policy on it. We've made
yeah,
sure anything to do with restoration, or Jack and I, or even Stephanie,
yeah,
that we step out, but also we always have comps. And we look at what's comparable
yes,
in the area to do with that. And
yeah,
then like when you asked about a figure, I didn't want a bigger figure because of who I am,
hmm,
because of restoration. So
yeah,
we've always stepped out of that part as well, but having that put actually as a part, I
hmm,
think is an excellent idea. We sort of made sure to do that transparency, but I
hmm,
think having more structure around it is a good
yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, I mean, I completely understand when a nonprofit starts out, no one's going to loan the nonprofit money to buy real estate. I get all that. But I just feel that little bit of caution that I want to just vehemently protect the organization and you guys
Definitely,
personally.
definitely.
So like I said, I mean, I think there's things we can do just to bring that greater transparency. If people come in and they look at our books, hey guys, we're good to go. This is what we have. So the reason I even bring that up, and Tosh kind of, I don't know if that's where your questions were going, but I think whatever arrangement we come to and we agree to, because I do think that it is fair, because of the Reach's use of the property is really the only reason that the septic system is unable to, it is working well beyond its capacity. So I think that it is a fair thing for them to support. I just want to be wise in how we arrange, we create whatever the terms and the arrangements are for the contribution of those funds toward this loan that's being obtained to fix it.
Mhm.
You have other
Great.
questions, Tosh?
Still millions, but I'm gonna let other people talk, and maybe that'll help me find answers, so.
Anybody else? Any of the other board members?
I guess I think I have a lot of questions too, and I don't know if I'm following this, and this is probably a really dumb question, but so are we saying restoration would be essentially paying for this, and then we're trying to decide how much Reach would be paying them back over, like each month? So you're talking about $1,000 or something to that extent. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yes, yeah, essentially that's it. The restoration, and I think, Danielle, you guys are in the process of trying to secure that loan to cover the entire project, which
Yes.
septic is a
Yeah.
part of.
Yeah.
But I even thought about things like instead of Reach cutting a check each month that goes to restoration properties, does it make more sense for them to cut a check every month that goes to Atomic? That's a payment
Ah,
on the loan. I
oh,
don't
that's a
I
good
don't know.
idea.
Like I don't know if that just takes you guys out of it and it's even more transparency. I mean, I think we can track it if it goes from Reach. Well, we can track it going out, but I guess that's as far as we could track it as an organization. So, um, but I was just thinking of just anything we could do. I mean, I think that it is, like I said, I think a contribution of some sort is absolutely warranted to cover some of the cost. But I kind of need help in formulating like the terms and what would pass muster and what seems like a fair and equitable arrangement.
Can I say something?
You can.
Um, if we are going to do like $1,000 a month, if we would do that for, how long is the duration of your loan, Danielle?
That's what I need to find out.
My guess is it's with your building, if you're doing a refinance and equity thing, it's going to be a long term. If we did that for 5 years, that would be 60,000 and that would be half. So I
Oh,
would imagine we would
yeah.
longer than 5
Mhm.
years of doing the $1,000 a month. I'm not
Yeah.
saying, you know what I mean? I'm just
Mhm.
saying that like as a time frame, that would give us an idea if we did do it half and half.
Good idea.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's where we're going, but that was just a thought.
Yeah, so I think that's what we just have to decide is do we think it's fair for Reach to absorb 50% of the cost? Um, Or should it be more? Should it be less? I'm just curious, but I think that's a good way, Steph, to look at it is to put a timeline on it, because then it's like, okay, we are committing the organization to this extra expense for 5 years or 6 years, whatever it ends up being. But it's not like 20 years or, 30 years or something like that. Anybody else? Greg, Phil, anything from you guys?
I think Greg's left. Oh, no.
No, he's still here, but he's muted.
I had to toggle over to see him.
What's the full price of the septic
I'm here.
again?
I mean, I fully trust you guys on this stuff. The one thing that I have, experienced in my journey with Reach is that there's never not a very high level of creativity in everything that they do and everything that the leadership has always done. And I know that it's always done with the greatest of integrity, and it's always done so that we can best serve the people that we're called to serve. So I'm sure that whatever the mechanism is, and and all the all the things that we need to do, and including taking a little hard look at the way it's structured, I'm confident that we'll come on the other side of it and be just fine. We're always just fine. So appreciate all of the hard work and all of the diligence that you guys just shared. Appreciate that very much.
Thanks, Greg.
Tosh, they haven't gave us a final set cost. The engineer said that when he looked it up, it's going to be between 100,000 and 120,000.
So, and then what's the proposed amount that Reach would give?
Let's say it's 50%. Let's say it's 60K that they would cover. And then restoration, as the property owners, would absorb that additional, whether it's anywhere from 40 to 60,000.
Yeah. I mean, that seems fair to me, again, because of the septic even being overloaded in the first place because of Reach. And then as far as like the payment, I don't know, like I think that I'll take, Diane, your guidance on this, whether payment is best to go to a bank or instead of being directly paid to restoration property. I'm not sure the answer to that, but I'll trust your judgment on it. I'm trying to think that, in situations I've worked in before, when there's a property manager overseeing a site, my employers have paid directly to the property management company to handle that, but I know it's like a little bit more dicey with two members of the executive team being owners of other said place. So I think whatever makes this optically cleaner.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's what we probably have to do is, Steph, once we probably have to have the work done. We may have to finalize the agreement once we have the final bill. And then if restoration is comfortable, if the board is comfortable with it being a 50-50 split, then we can just hammer out, and then we can bring those final terms to the board and say, okay, guys, final bill, we were on the high end, it was 120K, so we're going to split it down the middle. If restoration is comfortable with the 60K, Reach will do 60K, we'll come up with terms. And then maybe, I think I've asked before, we don't probably have access. I think, do we have an accountant, but not really probably a tax attorney? That this might be something to run by them in terms of like, okay, is it cool if we just send those payments directly to restoration properties? I just think if we just keep everything very transparent, maybe we could even on every quarter we could report on like, hey, so far we've paid this many payments against that bill, everything, I mean, just to kind of keep it all kosher and just, visible.
We do have Tom. Tom does our taxes. I can send him an email and see if he will give me the advice on it. I've not really ever asked him for a whole lot of advice. He just does the taxes. So I'll run that by him and see what he thinks and says, and I will let you know what he says.
Yeah. So is he just like a tax preparer? Is he a CPA
He's
or?
a CPA.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's at least helpful. Um, okay. Phil, did you have anything?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to talk on mute a minute ago. I like the direction that we're going. I feel like we have worked so hard to get where we're at, and we've kind of did what we have to do to get here. But I think putting parameters in place to make sure that we are legit in every area is a good path to take.
Mhm.
I'm kind of like Tosh. I don't know. I'm not a professional in that area as far as like what that looks like. So, if we have to pay somebody to tell us what that looks like and give us a professional opinion on how we can kind of safeguard ourselves, I think that's good. I think what you said about reporting every meeting is good. That shows that we're aware and we're trying to make sure there's no ethical boundaries because we're bringing it up every meeting and it's on record that we're talking about it.
Mhm.
Um, so as of today, I mean, I think we can at least do that and then look into, what are the safeguards so that we can make sure we always are ethically right in the eyes of the world that may come looking at some point. We know our hearts, but they
Sure.
don't. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's absolutely my heart is just to, let's put every boundary in place that we can without
Yeah.
hindering the work, but just to safeguard. That's probably a better way to say it. So, um, okay, that all sounds good. So that's what we'll do. We will. I mean, I would just say I think we do have a consensus that everyone is in agreement to proceed with the project. I know Danielle, you guys are still kind of pending the results of the loan application and things like that. So maybe what we can do is if anything happens between now and next meeting, I mean, just maybe keep us posted if anything is progressing, and then we can revisit, like I said, either next meeting or when the work is completed and we get that final invoice. But I would just say, I think that everyone's in agreement that we know the work needs done. We're really feeling comfortable about a 50-50 split on the cost, and then kind of the terms to be determined once we have all the final numbers. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I should have more before the next meeting, so I will send out an email. I think the next step is I just have to tell him which system we want to go with so that he can submit to the EPA. Because he said ideally we want to have it put in by November because prices will go up after that.
Okay.
So he said we're kind of on timeline, and he said it'll take 4 to 6 weeks with the EPA. So I just have to let him know to start moving forward with that.
What is the timeline for, Stephanie? Why would a price increase automatically happen in November?
I think it has to do with the weather and that they just increase because it's harder to get people to go out and work in it. And where they're working with bedrock, I'm wondering if they're afraid if the ground freezes, they won't be able to dig it out and stuff. Because
Okay,
they're going to be limited on the size of equipment they can get in due to the terrain and the roads to get to the property. So I wonder if that has to do with it. He just expressed that we needed to get it done before November.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, and I think I would be leaning towards the two mound system, but also I completely respect the fact that Danielle, it is your property. So so like, whatever you guys are feeling like, hey, we think this would be a superior system for longevity, or there's other things, that's fine. Just let us know, if you think differently. I'm just thinking for the most cost conscious, but also something that's going to remedy the issue.
Yeah, I think we're fine with the two mound. We were thinking the other if they weren't going to use that field. But since either way they have to use that field, I've actually been looking at what creative ways can we use it for clients to
I see.
making natural gardens and doing things like that. That
Yeah.
we could not just see it, oh, it's these sightly two massive mounds out there. But what can we do that actually is going to make the program even better?
So I guess we're not putting in a swimming pool, is what you're saying.
There's
Yeah,
already
we
an
can't
in-ground
do that.
pool. They
There-
already
there's-
have an in-ground pool there. That's why the septic can't go in the backyard.
Okay.
And
There
we
is,
have a pond. You need to come out. We need to take you out there. We've got a pond that's
yeah.
filled with fish.
That's awesome.
We could fence in the field and put some cows out there. Just
They
saying.
didn't give me that option, ChatGPT, when I was looking.
Well,
It
it
said
is
not
an
too
option.
much walking on there because it will compact it.
If we do the mound system is 3 foot tall, we should be okay. Maybe not. I was just thinking food.
Yeah.
Things that we can
We're all-
sell to get money
Comes
back.
back to Greg saying we're creative.
We
So
are.
what can we do? We're creative.
I know they say you can't plant too much on them, can you? Because of
There's
the
different
root?
types of plants that you can,
Okay.
and yeah, I've got a drawing and everything. You
Awesome.
know
We
me,
could
I
always
have to have a plan.
we could fence it in and lease it to Charlie for his horses. You know, I'm
Oh
not
God, but thank you guys for like even talking about it
Sure.
and that with us. We do, like Jack and I try to step out as much as we can, but just
Yeah.
this is our third septic that we've had to put in because of the number of people that we have in the
Sure.
houses that we never prepared for.
Yeah.
But Jack and I made a comment, we're not scared of septics anymore.
we
And
were.
it's jumped. The first one was 20, the next one was 40. Now it's, oh, well, now it's tripled. But
Astronomical.
yeah, but we're not as scared of septic systems now with whatever God's going to have us do in the future.
I know more about septic systems and the EPA than I ever wanted to.
All right, guys. So for the sake of time, we did have a couple things there under old business, but it's just things like board members. We'll talk a little bit more about that, I think, in the future. But of course, if you guys have anyone, you can recommend anyone. I think obviously we're using great discretion and being very prayerful about who we have on, and or who we invite on or talk with. So we'll talk a little more about that in the future because I would like to talk with the board about potentially setting in place some other officers, board officers, just to structure ourselves a little better. But I'll defer that till a future date. So I do want to just give a quick opportunity for Danielle. Would you like to just quickly cover like a few of those things under new business, Friendsgiving, the work group meeting, and a couple of those, please?
Yeah, so every year we do Friendsgiving and we had two. This would be our third year. We'd like to still do it. And it's open to all staff and their families, our IOP clients, the ones that live in our homes, and their families to come. And we just do a combined Thanksgiving. We do it the week before Thanksgiving. That's why we call it a Friendsgiving. I think we had just under 200 at the first one. And how many did we have at the last one, Steph?
I think it was 300. It had to be at least 300. We ran out of
Yeah.
food.
So we've got the 21st of November is the date that we're going to have it. It's a Friday. That way, if people want to take their family wants to take our clients home, they can. And often people's Friday afternoons are available. So we're doing it on Friday and we'll send that out to everybody. So that's the Friendsgiving. To do with we have a lot of things that we have to do for CAF that we have to do annually. And around this time last year, we did a Saturday where we did our strategic plan. We did all of those different things. And we actually would like to do it that we go away somewhere. So we offer time and a half for the staff that come. So managers and up come. And for the board as well. And we were thinking of, and we're getting pricing in that, of going to a place like Shawnee. And that, so if you have families there for the weekend, that you can actually stay and your families can hang out and play and do things. We'll work on a stipend based on how much that we will give towards the hotel rooms to stay.
Okay.
I don't think we can afford paying for everybody, but giving towards, if you want, I said like Jack's family of 10 children. You know, I don't know whether we could afford that many hotel rooms.
Right.
But
So when
Yeah.
I do leadership conference for Ohio Parent Advocacy Network, we do it, they hold it at Great Wolf Lodge. They're grant funded, so they have a specific budget for it. So I'm not saying we should do it at Great Wolf. I gotta stay within budget. But what they do is they have it there so that they cover the cost of the room only for the nights that you have to be there in attendance for your sessions that you're working on. And we're talking about doing it like on a Friday and Saturday. So it would be like Friday night is all we would cover for the rooms. But we're trying to get it as a group deal where we get like the event rooms to do our breakout sessions to plan all of our carve stuff. And if we can get hotel rooms up to so much for board members and staff, then we will. if possible, just because it gives incentive and it keeps, because we're using outside of work hours, they're gonna have overtime and whatnot. So their
Sure.
families can still be around. And my family actually looks forward to it every year when leadership conference comes. My kids look forward to it more than I do. Just
Nice.
because of they've made friends there. So Susan West, one of our mental health contractors, is actually on that with me, and she comes for Friendsgiving, our company picnic in the summer, and leadership conference is the only 3 times out of the year that my kids get to see her grandkids that she's raising.
He's
So
in Lorain County.
yes.
Yeah. So guys, when do we generally do that? When would we generally have that annual meeting?
We need to do it before calf. So it has to be like an annual thing. We did it in October last year, I think. I think we need to look at doing it in, no, we were looking at November will be a busy month. We were looking at doing it in the first week of November, I think, wasn't it, Stephanie, when we had the managers meeting?
Yeah, we're looking at either the end of October or the beginning of November, just depending on what's approved, how much stuff costs, and what we can organize, where we're
Okay.
going.
And you guys are working on that now, so maybe you can get some info out to us. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sure sooner better for a lot of
Everybody.
people's schedules. So great.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just realized people are giving up their time with their families, and it's
Yeah.
something that we need to do. And then our staff have to be, it's not just going to be the officers doing it, because our staff are busy during the week doing their normal jobs. So how could we do that? Which is why we were looking at that way, and also not trying to rush. You know how we rushed through everything last year, being able to go into breakouts, having the board go on their own, and through stuff that you guys have, and having the different things that we need, because there's a lot of things that we have to do annually for CAF that that takes time, and so having the teams there, and what I've said is the ones that can't come, it's not mandatory. But what I have said is mandatory. We will send you this stuff beforehand, and I want your input.
Cool.
So
Okay.
if you can't come, we understand, but what is mandated, that I want your input for it. So that although I can't make people come, and that's not right to do that, but at least then we have incentive to why, but also I want all of my managerial staff to have a say in what we're doing.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, awesome. Well, guys, I just don't want to be respectful of time. It's about 7:06. I appreciate it so much. Great, robust conversation. And again, I have I guess just I'll just say 2 quick closing things. I do have kind of a proposed new format for like an agenda for our meetings. What I would love to do first is I'd love to meet with the officers, because I just want to make sure that it's reasonable in terms of, okay, is this reasonable data? Does this align with CARF? Yeah, I just have questions. I want to make sure it's all good to go. And then I would love to either have a very, very quick meeting with the board, or at an absolute minimum, I could send it out to you guys in an email and you guys could give me your input, and then we'll just bring it to like whatever next board meeting we have, and kind of just, yes, everyone bless off on it, and then we will go to that format. So it'll be kind of a new standardized format, and then we'll shift our financials into something like what we showed and shared tonight. So anybody have any closing comments or concerns, and anything, any last words?
Nope, I like that.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, does somebody just real quick, Danielle, would you like to just kind of bless us, just pray us out, and we'll be done?
Father God, I just thank you and I praise you, Lord. I just thank you for the team that you've brought together, for the work that you want to do, that you want us to do in your community, Lord. I just ask that your protection to be upon all the board members and the officers and our staff going down, and our clients, Lord, but especially over the leadership and their families, Lord. And I just thank you and praise you that you continue to protect them, you continue to prosper them, Lord. And we just thank you for this opportunity in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you
you.
guys all so much, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.